Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
Okay, everybody, radio stations across the country, honored to be with you. As always, you can email us freedom@charliekirk.com, and we are here at the bitcoin.com studio. We had an amazing event yesterday in Ohio. We say OH, and they all said IO, a phenomenal event in Ohio, and honored to be back here in beautiful Mission Control, Phoenix, Arizona. The Democrats are trying to find their way forward. I really want to talk about this summer meeting that they had recently. You see, the Republican Party, we certainly have problems. We have infighting. We got to get rid of this blue slip problem. We got to figure out what we believe on legal immigration. But large in part, our party is a party that represents families, parents, entrepreneurs, moms, MAHA, workers. What does the Democrat Party represent? Increasingly, the Democrat Party represents a very elite, coastal, college-educated oligarchy and a government-addicted minority. Basically, people that are so addicted to government benefits that they need to vote for the Democrat Party for them to sustain their lifestyle. The New York Times recently did a story about voter registration data, and it's incredible. 30-plus states plus Washington, D.C. allow for partisan voter registration. Between 2020 and 2024, Democrats lost 2.1 million voters in those states. The Republican Party gained over 2.4 million. In Pennsylvania, the very well-known battleground state, Democrats had registration advantage of 517,310 among active voters in November of 2020. As of this summer, it's only 53,303 voters, and we are waiting for the Arizona voter registration report. In North Carolina, Republicans erased roughly 95% of the registration advantage that Democrats held in the fall of 2020 by this summer. Voter registration is an early indicator. Voter registration is like a mini poll in time. We knew that we were going to have a rockier 2020 election as we started to see some of the voter registration numbers come down in the summer of 2020. And this is a shout out to all the important work that Turning Point Action is doing. Registering voters. And by the way, we're going to scale the voter registration operation even more. We want to register hundreds of thousands of voters. You see, the left, they like to attack us a lot. And they say, Charlie Kirk is just a podcaster and he's a college debater. Well, you know, we do all of those things. But little do they know actually how successful we are at the clipboard and tennis shoes, the grassroots type work that we cannot keep our eye off the ball. Every single day, we are registering new voters at Turning Point USA. Every single day, we are registering new voters at Turning Point Action. And this is from the New York Times the other day. Put that back up on screen, please. Illinois is going to lose electoral votes. California is going to lose electoral votes. By the way, this is one of my favorite charts. You know, Gavin Newsom's out there screaming into the sky, California is this amazing state. And he's, saying in all caps, he's trying to do the Trump thing and doesn't do it very well. All of these statistics, all of this data can be manipulated. But there's like 3 or 4 stats that can't be manipulated. Just keep this up on screen for all of you to enjoy. Why are people leaving the blue states and moving to the red states? Very simple. Like, you don't have to overcomplicate it. You don't have to have some sort of macroeconomist. You don't even have to talk about tax rates. Why are people leaving California, Illinois, New York, and Rhode Island, and they're going to Texas, Florida, Utah, and Idaho? And it's not all because of the weather. California legitimately has God's heavenly climate given to the United States of America. California is our gift from the cosmos when it comes to serene weather. If you are leaving California, you actively are doing so because of high cost of living, crime, or just a declining quality of life. So Coming into 2030 census that President Trump wants to redo and will be done in 2030, Illinois is losing population, New York is losing population, California, Rhode Island. They're all so much so they're going to lose significant electoral seats. Texas is gaining population, Florida's gaining population, Utah and Idaho. By the way, shout out to our Mormon friends, Utah and Idaho. They're building desirable states. However, we're going to have to do a couple segments and a couple little specials. There is a little purple Utah trend that we're going to have to keep our eyes on. Utah is not necessarily going to be the red state of the future if we do not stay vigilant there. By the way, those blue states are also where immigrants almost always automatically end up. California, New York, and Illinois almost are always the obvious points of arrival. They have to work hard to lose population. So think about it. They're losing native-born population in addition to piling immigrants on top of those states. The article points out that the nonpartisan Brennan Center says that California and New York will lose even more than the New York Times predicts. If you just want to send one picture to your friends, if you want to win any Labor Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas debate with your relatives, take a picture of the screen right now. It is a conversation ender. Why is it that the states that used to have America's three greatest cities, LA, Chicago, New York, as you can see exhibited right there, why is it that they are losing congressional seats and Texas, Florida, Utah, Idaho are increasing? What is that all about? And their answer is always, oh, it's because it's cheaper. Well, yeah, it's cheaper in Texas. It's cheaper in Texas because they don't have as big of a government in Texas. It's cheaper in Florida because they don't have as big of a government in Florida. And by the way, if you are leaving California for Dallas, you're giving up a little bit of a, let's just say Santa Barbara's kind of nice this time of year. And now this enters the Democrat summer meeting with this as a backdrop. And again, take a screenshot of this, text it to your friends. This is as good as it gets. It's real empirical data. By the way, this trend was happening 10 years ago, and it's only further accelerating. Because so many of the general population, they're not looking at the day-to-day conversation on Twitter. They're just kind of living their life. And the fact that millions of people are leaving the blue and going to the red tells the entire story. It paints the entire picture. The Democrats had their summer meeting, a perfect connection. This is the Oakland mayor. You know, they're really going down to like AA and single A baseball. The Democrats, They look at their roster and they're like, boy, we gotta really retool. So this is basically like their single A baseball first baseman. Oakland Barbara Lee, the Oakland mayor. This is who they think is going to be the new triumph. Yeah, when I think of success and I think of a desirable city, I think of Oakland. Play cut 323.
Now, Donald Trump, you know he trashed Oakland. He lied about us. But Oakland is not afraid. We embrace all residents, including our immigrant communities.
Okay, so I'm sure there's some wonderful people that live in Oakland. Oakland is a terrible place. Oakland is not safe. It's not clean. Oakland is actually a very dangerous place. It's a very dirty place. I've been to Oakland many times, and I'm sure there's wonderful people that live in Oakland, but it is one of the liberal hellholes of this country. So she's one of the keynote speakers of the DNC meeting. And it's very poorly run. And what does she care about? Foreigners. Here is the Minnesota DFL, which is the equivalent of the Democrat Farmer Labor. I believe that's it, DFL. It's a very radical element of the Democrat Party. It's uniquely Minnesotan. Blake would know all about it. Treasurer Lindy Swamick. Let's play cut 325.
The DNC acknowledges and honors the Dakota Oyate, the Dakota people, who are the original stewards of the lands and waters of Minneapolis. We still live in a system built to suppress Indigenous peoples' cultural and spiritual history.
Oh, you guys are into Indigenous land. That's fun. Let's apply that to the land of milk and honey, the land of Judea and Samaria. Look, it's very easy to mock. I do want to segue into the land acknowledgement thing for a second because I don't think we talk about land acknowledgements enough. It's basically saying you don't even get to have a country. The sinister, evil undercurrent of land acknowledgements is basically, if I say it, we could just take it from you. I want to talk about that as we continue to see the trend of people leaving the blue and going to the red. Email us freedom@charliekirk.com. We'll be right back.